10 signs a man has fallen deeply in love with you. In this video, you will discover the for sure signs that a man is truly invested into you and cherishes you and adores you and can't stop thinking about you, as opposed to you wasting your time and giving the wrong man the benefit of the doubt only for you to feel even more lonely and even more rejected. I'm Antia Boyd with Magnetize, and together with my husband Brody Boyd, we've been helping thousands of successful women all over the world to get the loving long-term relationship that they want fast. So let's go ahead and dive right in. The first sign a man has fallen deeply in love with you is the surprise factor. So here's a story about a man really surprising himself, and then, of course, also surprising me, actually. And that is when one of my exes actually booked a ticket for himself to go to a conference in Santa Barbara. Now, mind you, me mentioning that he was stating that he hated the US. So he really surprised himself to fly all the way from Germany to the US because he indeed had deeply fallen in love with me. Now, unfortunately, I deeply had not fallen in love with him, but that's a different story. But in any case, a man will do things where even his family was like, what you do? You're going where? Right? So don't buy into excuses that men may give you that they're like, well, that's not me, or that's not my personality, or that's not what I normally do. The next sign a man has fallen deeply in love with you is the authenticity quotient. Now, what the authenticity quotient talks about is, look, we all have lenses, we have perspectives, we have coping mechanisms that we have acquired in response to having childhood wounds. However, what happens is when a man is fallen deeply in love with you, he is breaking through all of these lenses and all of these perspectives because he actually feels safe with you. So he no longer needs those survival lenses and mechanisms to protect himself. The next sign that a man has fallen deeply in love with you is he is highly congruent. And that really means he respects you so much that he holds himself to potentially even a new standard. Now, one thing that men say at weddings is that you make me a better man. And what do you think that means? This means that he decided, because he respects and he loves you, that he's no longer trying to get away with the cookie from the cookie jar, so to say, being in his little boy energy, irresponsible, but instead stepping up to the plate, stepping up to the occasion, and really being there for you on all levels. The next sign that a man has fallen deeply in love with you is he's willing to work through conflict. Whew. This is a charged word because it really depends on how were you navigating conflict in your household. How did you see your parents navigating conflict in your household? And what was actually shown to you as a consequence if you lean into conflict or if you disagree? All of that is even more amazing that when a man is deeply in love with you, he's willing to face all of these fears and to overcome those childhood wounds that he may have from his own childhood, and instead stay with you in the fire and work with you through the conflict, regardless what his internal voice tells him. Next sign that a man has fallen deeply in love with you is he asks you for your input. And the reason why he does that is because your opinion actually matters to him. Your voice actually matters to him. Now, this may take a little bit of work on your end because you may have grown up to parents who made you feel like your voice does not matter. Like maybe you were expressing yourself or you were expressing your needs and you were told to shut up, or you get something to cry about. Now, if that's the case, you want to actually learn how to increase your capacity to receive a man who actually wants to have your input, who actually authentically looks at you and tell you that he truly cares. The next sign that a man has fallen deeply in love with you is he expresses his emotions consistently. Now, consistency is the key here, because I have many women that come to me and tell me, oh my gosh, I met this amazing man. It's like this fairy tale. It's like this magical story because he told me that he loves me and he told me and he expresses himself, but out of the sudden, now he doesn't anymore. Now he withdrew. Now he shut down. No. When a man has fallen deeply in love with you, he will express himself and his emotions consistently. And you know why? Because it's almost like an unconscious competence. It's not something he has to think about or he has to make a decision on or it's almost effortless because it comes from an internal drive, from an internal authentic motivation as opposed to a gimmick or something that he needs to remember over and over again. The next sign a man has fallen deeply in love with you is he tells you that he loves you. Now, caveat here is that will also connect with his actions as well. So if you're telling me right now, well, Antia, this man had done this and then he let me fall like a hot potato, then that's not what I mean. I mean, he really tells you this, and not just with his words, but with his actions, with his energy, with his body. His body is actually facing you. Research shows that we can't fake. When we're attracted to someone authentically, we face them directly, as opposed to going at a certain angle. The next sign a man has fallen deeply in love with you is he asks you about your ring size. Now, this is really important because he may have told you, or you may have felt it on, let's say, a spiritual and energetic level. You feel like, or you think, you feel like he has those feelings of love for you and he cherishes you. But look, when he asks you for your ring size, it actually anchors and integrates into the physical reality. And that's actually where you distinguish the emotionally unavailable men from the ones that are deeply in love with you. The ones that are deeply in love with you, like my husband was with me and is with me, was that he asked me for my ring size within 8 months of us meeting. So that's not unusual, and something like that should follow, should you, of course, look to get married again. The next sign a man has fallen deeply in love with you is he protects your reputation. Now, this may come to a shock for you because you may have dated a lot of narcissists or emotionally avoidant, unavailable men. And when it comes to narcissists, they may have made some sarcastic comments, ironic comments, and slightly putting you down and putting themselves into a superior position. This was certainly true for me before I met my husband, Brody. Like, I remember this one guy, he just kind of laughed it off and he said, I'm just joking. It's just a joke. Chill out. And this is, of course, also saying he's almost gaslighting you because he's making you feel guilty and stupid. And in reality, you actually picked up that there was a level of disrespect. Now, nothing could be further from the truth with a man who's deeply in love with you because you are a part of him. He will protect you because you are basically one item, and he will make sure that you're not going to get attacked in any way, shape, or form. Next sign that a man has fallen deeply in love with you is he inquires about your day, about your week. I know this sounds like rocket science, but really, he's not just waiting you to ask him questions. I hear this so many times. And for you to focus on him, especially if you were dating narcissists, but also if you were dating an emotionally unavailable man who just kind of disappears in his own world. But he actually wants to know authentically, how did your meeting go today? Or how did the argument or the discussion go with your friend? Or have you worked out whatever the trip, the holiday vacation with your family, and so on? He's truly anticipating what's happening in your reality because he is truly in it. The fact that you've made it all the way to the end of this video shows that you are committed, you want to make a difference, you want to shift something specific in your love life. And this is because you want to really know, is the man really into you or not? You're done questioning and doubting yourself. Next, if you haven't yet, take our free love quiz and virtual coaching session to get the loving, long-term, and committed relationship you desire fast without loneliness, frustration, and wasting any more time with emotionally unavailable men by simply hopping over to getlovequiz.com or simply click the button below in the description. Much love. Hope this was helpful, and I'll see you soon.